Alright guys, we're going into the Stenton House here on North 18th and Windrum at the catty corner here. This is like a little hidden piece of history here in Philadelphia, and they're opening it up today for 4th of July for some activities, events, learn some history. So we're gonna go check it out. We're gonna walk through the house and learn all about what happened here during the Revolutionary War and what the estate looks like. What's up, Zoe? Say hi to everybody.
Owner of this property.
James Logan, you're the owner of the property. And how old is this?
This place, we began construction in the early 1720s and completed it in 1730.
Awesome. Don't put too much glue, Zoe. Looks good.
Did 200 years ago. So we actually cheated a little because we didn't go to the cows, but we did go to the refrigerator and get a half-gallon of half and half and pure cream and some vanilla extract. You can get that from the plant either. And so we put it in here, and now a spinner is spinning it around and around. Ice is in the bucket, and it's like curdling cream.
Okay.
And it'll turn into ice cream in about 25 minutes if I keep working.
All right, so we'll check back in then.
Okay, perfect.
What are you doing, Zoe?
I'm making ice cream.
You making ice cream?
You think this was fun when you about 200 years ago? You know who invented this kind of ice cream maker? There was a much harder ice cream maker in the 1840s. And this woman, Nancy Johnson, from Philadelphia.
Oh, really? Nancy Johnson?
You can look it up. I have a copy of her package.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so so she was the person who invented the ice cream.
Who invented the ice cream maker?
So
Oh, that's cool. I never knew that.
a lot of people didn't. Yeah.
So Nancy Johnson from Philadelphia. Another first for Philly.
And for women.
And for women, yes. You're a feminist. I love it. So you see the ice in there.
Want to try, Mom?
Yeah.
What are you making, Mama?
I am making ice cream, like the way they did 200 years ago. This is probably a really yummy treat after all this work. You said it would take, what, 25 minutes?
Yeah, it takes 25 minutes.
All right. So check in with us 25 minutes from now, and we'll show you what we made.
Hopefully a little bit sooner.
I know, right?
Actually, I think it's
Coming along.
kind of stuff.
Ah, you're getting good, Zoe. You're getting good.
So I was just asked, whether ice cream was just sweet in the old days. Actually, they did come up with flavors. One of the flavors, interestingly, in the colonial times was asparagus ice cream. And Thomas Jefferson actually had a vanilla flavored ice cream. But in those days, vanilla was very expensive. It wasn't until the 1840s that vanilla became cheaper, and people like you and I were able to afford vanilla ice cream. The reason for it was we have to go all the way to Africa, to a little island called Reenactments in Africa. There was a slave boy by the name of Edmond Albius, 11 years old. The problem with vanilla is that it's an orchid, and there's only certain bees that can pollinate the orchid. Edmond Albius figured out a way at 11 years old how to pollinate the orchid in such a way that it made vanilla cheap, for people to enjoy all around the world. So that's why
That's amazing.
to have vanilla ice cream today.
Wow.
And if you go to Reenactments, you will actually see a plaque that basically honors Edmond Albius.
All right. So Zoe, we got to honor Edward when you try your vanilla ice cream.
That's the big beater.
Thank you very much.
All right, here's the ice cream that Zoe made. You gonna get it? You gonna get some ice cream? All right, come on, get some ice cream.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think. Taste it. Tell us what you think. Is it yummy?
Uh-huh.
Delicious?
Yes, nice and cold.
Zoe, is it yummy?
Virginia, Evelyn and Liam are in the greenhouse.
Right? We say thank you, Edward, for helping us
Thank you,
invent
Edward.
vanilla ice cream. All right, so we just spoke with Coleman, who told us all about how the world basically got vanilla and was able to use that for ice cream. And Zoe and I just made ice cream. Zoe already finished hers. I'm not a big ice cream eater, but it is yummy. So now we're gonna go check out and see what else they got going on.
Can't believe that they just did it.
So do they walk around with these things?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they stand on it and walk.
The thing is with these, once you start moving, you can't stop.
You gotta wind it up. That one's already wound up. Okay, you gotta hold that. You gotta hold it by the stick, not by the rope.
We're gonna play a game? And then what, you catch them with both sticks? What are we calling it, sushi? All right, ready to go? Here we go. Oh, almost. All right, you ready? Pass it to me. Ah! Oh, I almost got it. All right, here we go. You ready? I'm gonna do it with one hand. Check this out. Here we go, here it comes. All right, here we go. We're doing 200-year-old games. Ready? Yeah, you got it, see? All right, ready? Let me see if I can catch it. Yes, got it.
Mommy is going to try these sticks, and she's going to do them right now.
You think I can do myself? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I might kill myself. Are you filming me? Oh no! I'm afraid to do it. Alright, show me what you do. Do I need to hold you to help you? Hold the first stick. Alright, ready? Here we go, ready? Alright, good. Alright, you filming? Film. Alright, now you're gonna walk. Ready? Walk. Hold on.
See, back then they didn't have computers and tablets, so those would have been the kind of games you would have played, right? Yeah. All right, so now we're going for a tour through the Stenton Museum. So this sign says, "In memory of Dinah, the faithful colored caretaker of Stenton, who by her quick thought and presence of mind saved the mansion from being burned by the British soldiers in the winter of 1777.
We didn't photobomb, did we?
And if you see Benjamin Franklin, he was friends with Benjamin Franklin. And
Here's a broken teacup.
that's a broken teacup. Mm.
Look the stairs. What's in there? That's the storage.
So this is the office area of James Logan. And what's interesting about the mansion, apparently he was a very successful businessman, and he apparently spent hours here working on account books and ledgers. And in this particular area, there were lots of Lenape Native Americans and the Iroquois as well, and 6 groups of the Iroquois Confederation dominated New York and the frontier between the British and the French colonies. And Logan commented, "If we lose the Iroquois, we are gone by land." So it's amazing just to see the influence in order to preserve the stuff we have here today, the role Native Americans played during this time period. I'm coming. So this was built between 1723 and 1730. James Logan was a very wealthy Philadelphian Quaker, actually. All right, we're going upstairs.
Books.
What's up, man?
Books about who?
Can you see adults? You gotta move out the way.
Yes. The 2 pieces were actually made in Philadelphia, but the hardware that's on them, those were ordered from England, and those are the receipts that we actually have for the brasses, is what the hardware is called. And then there's a lot of the furniture in here was made here in Philadelphia. So yeah, Philadelphia was the place to be. And wait, Philadelphia is still the place to be.
Well, they had everything.
It did. It really did. And it was the most cosmopolitan city in the Western world, second to London. You know, everybody thinks about New York and things like that, but like New York's ascent didn't come until much later. It was the largest English-speaking city in the world at one point in time. So yeah, Philadelphia's always been number one. And then we won the Super Bowl, and so now, like, I double dog dare anybody to even try to be as good as we are. Rope here, because we don't want to focus on it. So you, okay, sorry. I was getting ready to start tackling.
This was a guest bedroom, or bed chamber as they called it.
But I will tackle him later because he's my husband too.
I'm going to stand next to her because I know what it's like as a wife.
Sorry, babe.
So this was one of James Logan's daughter's bedroom. And if you notice, the adjourning room right here was actually where the baby stayed, as well as the servant bed. So the Logans actually had slaves on this property and took care of the home and the people in the house. So they had wet nurses, servant maids, and several others who really had an impact and influence on not only the property but the family and preserving this house today.
Do you have a child?
No, they don't have one now.
Not now, they did. Yeah.
What's your name?
Well, we don't know. Well, and yeah, it doesn't say what the names of the kids are.
My name is Carol Rush. I'm a guide here in Stenton. I am a member of the National Society of the Colonial Dames of America in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and we have run this house as a museum since 1899.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. We have a wonderful legacy of women who've come before us, and historic preservation and education is what we do.
So mostly women have helped preserve this house?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
All
that's
women.
awesome.
The house was built between 1720 and 1730 by James Logan. He was the secretary of William Penn. William Penn came to this country twice to look after his property here, Pennsylvania, the colony. And on the second trip, he left James Logan here as his secretary to look after the Penn family interests in Pennsylvania.
Can you tell me a little bit about Dinah?
Sure. Dinah was an enslaved African who was owned by James Logan. She came here, she was able to get Mr. Logan to bring her husband here to reunite the family. And there were a couple of children here as well, but I don't know what their status was. James Logan died in 1751, which was long before there was revolutionary fervor. His son, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, went off to medical school in Scotland. So he was, even though he owned the house, he did not live here during the Revolutionary War. And the house was empty, and it was used by both General Howe and General Washington as headquarters during the Revolution. They did not damage it terribly. Sometimes they leave and trash the house, but that didn't happen here. And at one point, Dinah was here as a caretaker in the house, and she heard a knock on the door, and it was a couple British soldiers who wanted to come and burn the house.
Oh, wow.
And they were looking for something to ignite, to start a fire. And she was very quick thinking, and she said, well, there's hay in the barn, and pointed them, you see the barn? Yeah. So
Yeah, in the back,
she
yeah.
sent them to the barn to get hay. Well, they went in, and she locked them in the barn.
Oh, wow. And how old was Dinah? I thought she was young, so she wasn't young. She was older?
She was, yeah, well, she had some fairly old children. So
Okay.
she may have been 40.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought she was like
I don't think
a
she
teen
was-
or something.
Oh, no.
No, okay.
There are lots of beds in this house.
So a little while later, along come American troops. And she said, oh, I've got some British soldiers in the barn you might be interested in. So the Americans go in, they capture the British soldiers, and they take them away, and the house wasn't
And the
burned,
house,
and it was,
right.
and she saved the day.
That's
And
amazing.
That is a very loose interpretation of
Right.
the story.
That's a great story, though.
We just received a huge grant to do research on Dinah and tell her story. We believe she was buried out between here and the rec center.
Okay.
And that's where that plaque that you saw came from. There's a stone or concrete monument out there that we think that plaque was on originally. And there is some record somewhere that says that that was the tomb of Dinah. Whether or not she's buried there, we don't know, but we might be able to find out.
Oh, that's interesting.
So the other possibility is the family cemetery right out the back, which was paved over in the 50s. So we know the cemetery was there. We have some of the headstones. We have some family records of who was buried there. But Dinah was a treasured family member. Letters back and forth from anyway, the son who was in medical school said, give my regards to dear old Dinah. You know, I haven't had, you know, a meal as good as when she cooked it for me, or that kind of warm reflection of Dinah. So we have bits and pieces to flesh her out into a human being. So we're looking forward to doing this project.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
It'll take a couple years.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow up and see what happens. We'd love to learn more about her. All right, so here's the front of the house. Zoe is at the front door being silly. And we just learned all about Miss Dinah. And I'm super excited they got a grant to learn more about her and all these great, amazing people in history.
James Logan was William Penn's secretary, and that was his chief responsibility. And he had lots of things he had to do to make sure the government of Pennsylvania was run, the government of the colony of Pennsylvania was run. But he complained that he got very little money from this, from the pen, so he had to do a lot of other things to make his money. One of the ways he made his money was through land. He actually ended up owning about 18,000 acres of land by the time of his death. And in 1710, he went back to England and he went around to Quakers who had land in Pennsylvania but had never settled here, and he bought up their land for pennies on the dollar. Another way that he made quite a bit of his money was through trading, and he made money through the fur trade. One of his responsibilities was as kind of the chief agent dealing with the different Native American tribes. So he gets involved in the fur trade, makes lots of money. There's a number of ships in his employ that are going back and forth from England, bringing all these trade goods to England and things back. So yeah, that's.
Oh, and was it particularly like the Iroquois or like the Lenape?
So he really cultivated different relationships with different groups. He cultivated the Iroquois to the north because at that time they were an important buffer between the French and the English.
Yep.
And so they were an important ally. With the local Lenape, he was really part of a group that was pushing them out. And so there's a famous incident in 1737 called the Walking Purchase. We should come in here and I'll show you.
Okay. So it's, how do you pronounce it? It's Lenape, not Lenape, right? Lenape, okay.
Tomato.
Right.
So this is a great artifact that speaks to that. This was actually excavated here by archaeologists in 1982. Mm-hmm. And you see it's got this kind of weird-looking person on it. Mm-hmm. So put this image next to it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And there you can start to see
like
that emerge, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the rifle. So this is a very famous image. There are actually 4 of these paintings, and they're known as the 4 Kings of the Iroquois. Mm-hmm. And they were painted in 1710, which is the year that they went back. They were sent to England. Now these young men, they weren't really kings in the sense that we think of them today, but they're sent to England. They're kind of paraded around. A big deal is made out of it. They meet with the Queen. Importantly for us, prints are made of these images, and they're sent back to the colonies. And they go to people like James Logan, and they hang in assemblies and state houses. So, fast forward, archaeologists are digging here in 1982. They find this, and they're stunned. And we've never found a ceramic that has this image in it. We found the image in a lot of other places. We found it in houses. We found it in prints.
Right.
But what's really cool about it is that we know that on at least two separate occasions, there were large groups of Native Americans that came here to Stenton and camped here. So if you can imagine looking out these windows and seeing a Native American encampment of upwards of 200, they're described as, here to meet with James Logan.
Wow.
And we don't know for sure, but we'd like to think that maybe this bowl was used in some of those interactions, sort of in the way that wampum was used. Now, to get to really the negative legacy of Logan and what we were talking about earlier is involvement with Lenape. So Logan is very much involved with how settlers are getting land here in Pennsylvania. And part of that is pushing out the local tribe. So in 1737, there's a famous event called the Walking Purchase. And it starts when the sons of William Penn and James Logan produce this document. And they take it to the Lenape and they say, your ancestors agreed with William Penn to give us this large chunk of land. And the Lenape say, no, they didn't. We have no memory of this. This document's fraudulent. And most historians agree that it probably was a fraudulent document. So James Logan, having the Iroquois as his allies, appeals to them because the Lenape paid tribute to the Iroquois. And the Iroquois sort of stepped in and said to the Lenape, you know what, just settle this with the colonists. We don't want to hear any more about it. So the Lenape said, fine. You can have as much land as a man can go in a day and a half, thinking this will be a small bit of land. Well, what James Logan does with the Penn brothers is they recruit 3 runners, and they actually cut a path through the wilderness, this vast swath. And these runners end up running off this huge chunk of land north of Philadelphia, and it's this great swindle. It becomes known as the Walking Purchase.
Wow. Thank you.
There you go.
The British soldiers. Mm-hmm.
And they were about to burn the house, so Dinah told them, you can go get some hay from the barnyard to burn the house down. Then she went over there with the British guys, and then when the British guys went in, she locked them in, and she went to the house and saved the day.
Yeah, she saved the day.
Then the Americans came and said, and Dinah said, there's some British guys waiting for you. All right, we're leaving the Stenton House now to go to the next festival. Happy 4th of July!